Welcome to A Song of Ice and Fire Symposium. My name is Nav.
And I'm Harmit.
And this is A Game of Thrones, Chapter 15, Sansa. In this chapter, Arya and Joffrey are spoiling Sansa's day. Welcome to the podcast, everyone. Thank you so much for tuning in. I feel like I need to get a new thing to say because I say that every single time. Anyway, you know what? Let's do a quick summary. I'll give you 30 seconds because
Cool.
3 things happen, so 10 seconds per thing.
Oh no.
Ready?
Sure.
3, 2, 1, go.
Okay, Sansa and Arya are supposed to ride with Myrcella today. But that doesn't really happen. Arya's like, nah, I'm gonna go hang out with my friend Micah. And then she kind of goes and like she meets these people and she's like terrified and she's like, oh my god. And then
15.
so she has to because the people are there and like the queen, and so everything gets canceled and she ends up hang out with
Let's do 60 seconds.
Okay.
Okay, hold on. Let's get started with the 60-second summary. Ready?
Okay.
3, 2, 1, go.
Okay, so Sansa and Arya are supposed to ride with Myrcella and the queen today, but that gets spoiled because Arya's like, no, I want to go hang out with Micah. I'm not hanging out with the queen. That's boring. I don't really like her. And Sansa's like, oh my gosh, how can you say that? Anyway, so that gets canceled because she goes and like. And then there's these knights there, and she's like, oh my god, these people scare me, oh my god, and she almost starts to cry at one point. And the queen's like, hey darling, so our little play date for the day is getting cancelled, maybe Joffrey can hang out with you. And she's like, oh my god, literally best case scenario. And they're having this like perfect day in her mind, and then they see Arya and Micah like fighting, and then like Arya gets like hurt, and then Joffrey gets all egotistical and he's like, oh, that's my wife's sister, oh my god, and then just chaos ensues, and that's all that happens.
Okay, well, that was about a minute. Good summary, actually. Well done.
Thank you.
I shall applaud you, and so shall our audience. If you're listening, and if you're not applauding, you shall be cursed. No, I'm just kidding.
You shall be cursed by the 7 lords that they always, no, 7 gods
7
they
gods.
always pray to. Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Good summary. So, except for the fact that you called Sansa Joffrey's wife, she's his betrothed.
No, I know,
engaged.
but I couldn't think of the thing, so I was
Fiancé.
just like, wife. You know what, Nav? In the moment, I'm not gonna get the right words.
All right.
Like, I knew that I was wrong, but I was like,
I know. I'm just teasing you. Don't get so serious on me, okay?
Alright.
Okay, let's start at the very beginning. Go.
Okay, cool. So, Sansa, Septa Mordain, and I was like, oh my god, Septa's here. It was like one of those, because we keep meeting new people, and I'm like, oh, Septa, I know who this person is, you know? So that was
Septa's not her name. Septa is her title.
I know, whatever. Miss Mordain.
Or Septa Mordain.
See, I don't want to say all of that. Fine, Septa Mordain.
But Miss Mordain is better.
Yes. Okay, and so Sansa, her direwolf lady, and Septa Mordain are all having breakfast, and they're eating honeycombs. Like,
well, they're not eating the honeycombs.
No, well, they're eating honey. They're eating honey from combs.
Yes, okay.
Okay, so they're having breakfast.
Just by the spoonful. That's how they do it.
Okay, so, as I mentioned earlier, Sansa and Arya were invited to ride in the wheelhouse with the Queen and Princess Myrcella. I don't really know how to say her name.
Myrcella, yeah.
Okay, yeah, I've just been saying Myrcella. So cool. So they're supposed to today ride with them, and
anytime there's a Y, just kind of think of it as an I, like Myrcella.
Okay.
Cool. It just George R.R. Martin likes being weird, and anytime he can put an Y instead of an I, he would. So
that's funny. Okay, so like Arya and
Yeah.
other names.
Well, I don't know. Well, Arya's name I've seen so often that now I can't think, like, I can't imagine it being spelled with an I, but yeah.
Okay,
basically.
Cool. So, anyway, so they have that invitation, and obviously Sansa's over the moon. Like, this is her type of invitation, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But, and so...
Tea party with the queen.
Yeah, literally, that's literally her personality. So, Septa's like, okay, tell Arya to dress well. Like, I know you will. And they're just kind of, like, talking about, like, senseless things. She's like, oh, you shouldn't be feeding your wolf. And then, no, she's like, don't feed your dog. She's like, it's not a dog, it's a wolf. I was like, ooh.
Yeah. Septa Mordane's like, oh, you're a good girl, but when you're around that wolf, you're as willful as your sister.
I was like, oh, that's cute. Okay, but anyway, so, Arya is being wild. I don't know what that means. Oh, that's like when she was talking to her, right? Okay, yeah. Sorry,
right,
I was
no,
like,
hold on. No. So Arya has not been following the traditions and the things that Sansa is so fond of.
Definitely not.
Yeah, like she gets up early in the morning, fetches herself some breakfast, and is like out for the day. And, you know, she goes out and plays in the muds and rides and hangs out with the common folk. Ugh.
Yes. She'll be friends with anyone.
Yeah. And Sansa's like, oh, I wish she was more like Myrcella and Joffrey. Joffrey's so pretty.
Yeah, literally.
I love him. And she's literally, at one point, she's like, Sansa did not really know Joffrey yet, but she was already in love with him. He was all like she ever dreamt her prince should be. Tall and handsome and strong with hair like gold. Mostly because, like, all I can think of is his personality. Sure, he may have a nice face, but that doesn't matter.
Yeah, for sure. It's like, this entire chapter, I was thinking, I was like, hey, you know what? This is Sansa's chapter. I'm gonna try and give him a chance. But every time he would, like, do anything, I'm like, dang, I'm really, like, I'm like, Joffrey, I'm really trying to give you a chance, buddy, for Sansa's sake.
Sansa
For Sansa's sake.
Try out the new Sansa shake. It's a milkshake with lemon cakes and honey.
Honeycombs, actually.
Yeah. Okay.
No, but for her sake, I'm like, okay, I want to give him a chance because, like, I want this to work out. You know, me who loves to read, like, fictional happy ending fantasy wants this to work out.
Yeah, you seem a bit like Sansa and her songs and life wanting life to be like the songs and the fairy tales.
But then I'm like, okay, I know that's not gonna happen. So as the chapter progressed, I was like, okay, I really can't, you know? Yeah. Anyway, so moving on. So we pretty much have known, and we figure out more and more that she's in love with Joffrey, and she believes it.
She's 11. She's in love as an 11-year-old can be in love.
Yes, she believes she is in love with Joffrey. We'll leave that there. So she finds Arya on the banks of the Trident, and I was like, oh my god, a location I know. So now we kind of know, like, where they are-ish. So they've definitely progressed from the last time we saw them. So she's at the Trident, and Arya's cleaning Nymeria's fur, which is her dire wolf. And so she's like, oh, like, make sure you dress well today. Like, Septa Mordane said you have to. And she's like, yeah, I definitely don't really want to hang with the queen because I don't really like her. And I was like, ooh. And
Sansa is shocked by this. Like, that somebody could dislike the queen.
Yeah.
Like, just seems impossible to her, but...
Yeah. But Arya's like, to Arya's not even, like, you can tell Arya's not like, oh my god, I hate the queen. To Arya, that's just like, oh, I just don't like her. Like, to her, it's so casual. But to Sansa, it's such a big deal. But,
and Arya's been, like, out and about, like, exploring the landscapes, and, like, to the thought of being trapped in this wheelhouse, like, people she doesn't like, away from her wolf, and no windows? Oh my god. Sounds like a nightmare.
Yeah. So she's gonna be going riding with Micah, which is the butcher's boy, and is her like bestie right now, I would say.
He's like 13, so a few years older than her, but you know.
Maybe it's a John substitute.
Oh yeah. Yes.
Because
John's about that age, a year or so older.
And we know that Arya and Jon get along, like, super well. But anyway, whatever it is, they're like, pretty much besties. So, Sansa kind of mentions that Arya has some bruises, and she's like, oh my god, I don't even know where she got them. I don't even know what she does with her time.
But we find out at the end it's because she's been practicing sword fighting, so...
Yes. Jon did tell... What did he say about, like, fighting?
You have to practice sword fighting. You know?
And that's why she was, like, asking him to, like, fight with her. Because obviously she's like, she
needs to practice, exactly.
Yeah. Anyway, so technically this is Jon's fault. Just kidding. It's not Jon's fault. It's no one's fault.
While Sansa's talking about all of Arya's shenanigans, basically. Like, you know, she goes, rides off, gets her ashes, and, like, is always playing in the mud and being with random people. And Sansa mentioned that Ned doesn't seem to care that Arya's being all unladylike.
I was like, oh, yes, Ned. Yes. We enjoy
he's more accepting of her wild ways.
And he was like, what did he say about the flowers? He was like, what did he say?
He just thanked her for them and gave her a hug.
Thanked her. I was like, oh, that's cute. That's nice. Some, like, fatherly affection.
Yeah.
Anyway.
So, in case people don't remember, Arya, like, one day she found a bunch of pretty flowers, which ended up giving her a rash, but when she brought them back to her father, Sansa was like, he's probably gonna scold her, but instead of scolding her, he basically was like, oh, thanks for these.
Yeah. Okay, so she kind of leaves Arya. She's like, okay, whatever. Arya just loves to ruin everything for me.
One quick thing.
Yeah.
I love this one. There's a little paragraph or something that I want to quote here. So Sansa says, there's going to be lemon cakes and tea, Sansa went on, all adult and reasonable. Lady brushed against her leg. Sansa scratched her ears the way she liked, and Lady sat beside her on her haunches, watching Arya chase Nymeria. Just, like, this relationship between, you know, the sisters, but then also their wolves, because, like, Arya's, like, always dirty and wild, and Nymeria is always dirty and wild, and Lady is all ladylike, and, you know...
And Sansa even mentions, she's like, oh, who did she say? Like, the pet master? Someone told her, like, yeah, like, the wolves will have the personality of the master.
Yeah, so I liked it. And
I know,
like, this
cute.
just painted such a good picture in my head, because, like, Sansa's just, like, all adult and reasonable, and, like, and meanwhile, I imagined Arya, like, chasing after her wolf, going back and forth. It was just so funny.
Yeah, for sure.
I like that.
Yeah. Okay, so then Sansa's like, okay, whatever, Arya's just gonna ruin my day for me. Arya's disorder.
It's better she's not there, because all I want is for things to be nice and pretty like they are in the songs, you know?
Yeah, she mentions all these songs a lot. I was like, interesting. I was like, I don't know, this is just kind of more of, like, their culture thing. I'm like, are these, like, pop culture songs per se? Or are these, like, religious songs? Or, like what? Like what
okay,
songs?
So they don't got TV.
No, I know. Like, is this, like, just, like, pop culture? Is it like, their religion? Like, hymn songs?
No, not
like,
religious.
What is it? Okay.
These are not religious songs. They're just, you know, songs of people's braveries and love and all the, like, fairy tales, basically.
Like, okay, cool. Interesting. Anyway, just a random moment. Okay, so she leaves Arya. She's like, bruh, she's gonna ruin everything. So she gets to the camp, and in the camp, the queen is greeting 3 people. Sir Barristan, Lord Renly, and Sir Aelin Payne. Island.
Another Payne with a Y instead of an I.
Yeah. Sir Aelin Payne has seen some pain in his life.
Yeah.
Having his
King
tongue.
Aerys had his tongue ripped out.
Yes.
And he's this, you know, he isn't the most good looking of all people. He's got
he terrifies
he's balding,
Arya.
but has like really long sideburns. I don't know, not sideburns, but like, you know, the tufts of hair he's grown out to be really long.
My favorite part of this, well, not my favorite part, just what was interesting for me was, like, she described Lord Renly as, like, she was like the most gorgeous man I've ever seen, and then this guy that is so like that scares her with his looks versus the guy that she thinks is like the prettiest. And I was like, that's funny that like this is the moment she meets both of them. It's just such a juxtaposition.
And you know, this is a common theme with Sansa. She assumes that people who are good looking are good and people who are not so good looking are bad or evil.
Yeah.
And like with the Hound who has his face burned.
Yeah.
By the way, is this the first time that we've seen him referred to as the Hound?
Yeah.
Gregor
I got
Clegane.
really confused for a second.
Sandor Clegane, sorry.
Yeah. It's the first time I think so. Because I was like, wait, who's that? And then when they kind of kept talking, I was like, oh, that's Clegane. And when they like described him,
So anyway, like his face is burned, so she's like, oh, he must be evil. Joffrey's so pretty, he must be the best person ever.
Yeah. And she's kind of in this chapter discovering that things are not always what they seem.
But, you know, when she sees Ellen Payne, by the way, Payne was one of the who were what? And you're like, it's definitely a person, because I wouldn't tell you the spelling of Payne.
Oh.
Anyway, so she's scared of him and, you know, kind of stumbles, and the Hound, like, you know, helps her up or whatever, and she's just kind of like surrounded by all these strangers and is overwhelmed.
Mm-hmm.
And Joffrey, the queen tells Joffrey to go to her, and he shows up and he's like, my dear sweet lady, please let me help you.
That's exactly how it went down.
Yeah. Every time, like, I can't really, you know, when you're reading a book, we can't hear him talk, but I can just hear him talk, and it's just, take it away.
That's funny.
So, wait, what did we miss here? So, okay, let's talk about the people that show up.
Yeah.
So these people are sent by the council from King's Landing to escort them the rest of the way on their journey. Mm-hmm. So there's Sir Barristan Selmy.
Why, though? Like, they know the rest of the way, right?
Oh, they know the rest of the way, but it's like, we're honoring you. This is an honor
Okay. That's why, like, I was like, is there a purpose? Is something wrong? Like, that's why they need to talk to the queen? Like, I didn't know what was going on with the council. I was like, why are they here?
I don't think it was like something's wrong. It's more just like...
It's just...
Like a courtesy or whatever.
Okay, just a formality. I see.
Mm-hmm. So, Sir Barristan Selmy, the Bold, is the Lord Commander of the Night's Watch. No, the Lord Commander of the King's Guard. Too many Lord Commanders, sorry. Too many watches, too many whatever. And we heard about him the first time in Bran's chapter, because, you know, Bran's thinking about all the great knights, and he's like, oh, when I get to King's Landing, I'm gonna get to meet Sir Barristan. It's gonna be the best day of my life.
Right.
Yeah, so, like, this guy is kind of legendary, and Sansa's like, the singers sing of your braveries, even up all the way north.
Yeah.
And then...
Yeah, Sansa's pulling out this trivia. You know what I mean? Like, she's really on the spot.
Even as she gets introduced to these people, she thinks, oh, all of the courtesies taught to her by Septa Mordain came to her. And she's, like, spewing off all these random facts. And Renly's like, oh, you seem to know a lot. Guess who I am?
Yeah.
And she's
and
like,
then Joffrey gets all... Joffrey just, like, likes to... Joffrey cares about things that don't even matter. Like, just, like, randomly. He's like,
how dare you do that to my lady?
And, like, that's his uncle, man. But I guess he doesn't see him as his uncle. He sees him as his subject, because he's the prince or whatever.
He's the prince, and
yeah, whatever.
I'm so cool.
Yeah.
Sorry. Anyway, so Sansa, you know, looks at his armor and is like, okay, green and stag, okay, you're the king's brother, and since you're so young, you must be Renly.
Yeah.
Basically, in short. Yeah. And then she looks at Ellen Payne and is like, oh, who might this be? And eventually we find out that it's the King's Justice. So this is the guy that chops off people's heads for him. Remember we first heard of this concept back in the very first chapter when Ned Stark is like, I had to, you know, do the deed because the man who passes the sentence must swing the sword. Right. And Bran's like, but the king's got his justice. And you know, it's the ways of the north, the old ways versus the ways of the south, the new ways.
True. Now they're all gonna be intersecting and intertwining.
Yeah. So anyway, that dude's creepy, and apparently, you know, it suits his office, so it makes sense.
Yes. I wonder why his tongue was removed.
Yeah, why do you think? So this was the Mad King who had it done.
So his tongue was removed, but he was still serving?
Well,
so
King
if he did
Aerys,
something...
the Mad King had his tongue removed, and now he's serving Robert, the person who rebelled.
What? Oh, okay, who was the person that was... Oh, was that the Lord Commander that they said was serving before and is still serving?
Yeah.
Okay, see, I confused them, and I was like, why would he keep him serving if he cut his tongue? Okay, that makes more sense.
Yeah, so Sir Barristan, that's the Lord Commander, he was on the King's Guard for King Aerys, but he's now also on the King's Guard for King Robert.
I was confusing
which is a little
that
strange, because you would be like, oh, he fought, you know, he was the other guy's bodyguard. Why are you keeping him around? But I guess maybe we'll find out.
Queen was like, they've proven their loyalties. Or,
Was she like, anyway. Was that a thing?
No, she said that about the Pain guy.
Oh, okay.
Like, yeah.
Oh, yeah. He serves the king well and whatever. Okay, anyway, let's move on from this.
We've spent too much time
So we just
on
get
that.
introduced to a few new characters. It's cool. And that's pretty much it.
And then Queen finally, like, talks to her, and she's like, hey, sweeties, we have to cancel our plans, because, you know, these guests are here.
Yeah, and you have to apologize to your sister for me, and I'm like, Arya does not give a fuck.
Yeah, literally. she's like, oh, you have to apologize to your sweet sister, and I was like, ooh, that's funny. She doesn't even like you.
Yeah, exactly. Well, do you think this queen really means all that?
No.
Yeah,
but
she's
just the fact
putting
that
up a facade.
Yes, of course. So she's like, okay. She's like, Joffrey, would you mind entertaining our guest? Joffrey's like, of course, mother. And
you're saying everything in that voice of yours.
Anyway, so then they leave, and Sansa is over the moon. She's like, oh my god, I could not have dreamt this up, but I could have.
And he's like, what do you want to do? And she's like, I want to be with you.
I know. And she's like, wait, I shouldn't say that. And then when he's like, oh, we could go riding, I was like, you're such a liar. And she was like, oh, I love riding. I was like, you're a liar.
Yeah, just when she was talking to Arya, she was like, oh, I hate riding. It makes you dusty and smelly and sore or whatever.
But now, you know, for her prince, she's like, oh my god, I love riding.
All of a sudden she loves riding.
Yes. Anyway, change of character, I suppose.
Yeah. So Joffrey's like, oh, let's leave behind our protections, basically. So he asks Sansa to leave behind Lady, and it's like, I'll leave my dog behind. And she's like, wait, dog? Dog?
Yeah, poor Sansa.
Which is the Hound. So anyway, so smart decision there.
Yes. Poor. Yeah, literally. They could have prevented so much if they'd just not been dumb. But whatever,
so
it's fine.
They're right on out and have adventures, quote unquote. They're basically doing things that, you know, that earlier she was saying Arya is dumb or wild or whatever for doing, but since she's doing it with her prince, it's all okay.
No, when this was happening, you know what? You know that trope in, like, movies and films, which are the same thing, when it's like, this is like a common thing, right? Where it's like, older sister is like supposed to get married to someone, and then the younger sister ends up with the person. When they were going through these things, I was like, oh my god, this was just like, as I was reading, my thoughts were like, oh my god, Arya likes to ride, he likes to ride, Sansa's gonna be mad, like, if this doesn't work out. And then when they got to the end, I was like, that's definitely no. But then as soon as, you know, we actually met Arya again, I was like, okay, this book isn't gonna follow that trope.
It has very little to do with Arya. It just mostly has to do with Joffrey.
I know, but I was going off of, like, popular tropes that I've seen a lot. Yeah. That's just what I was thinking about. But anyway, not true.
So they're out riding, and they bully some holdfast. They, like, pull up to a holdfast and bully the people. Well, not bully, but he commands them to feed them and dine them and wine them or whatever.
Bruh, whatever.
And he's like, Sansa's like, oh, I only ever drink one glass of wine and it's only on special occasions. And he's like, you can have all you want. So he's basically drugging her.
And himself.
Anyway, the point is that they are drunk. They do not have, and also they're 11 and 12. They're children. They do not have all of their best capabilities at the moment.
Yeah, definitely not. We see that.
Yeah. So all of this leads to them eventually coming upon Arya and Micah, who are practicing sword fighting with broomsticks. And, they're practicing and Arya's like dodging some of the blows, even though Micah is like a lot older, but she still gets hit. And all of a sudden, Sansa's like, oh, Arya, what are you doing here? I don't know why that was the sound I made. The voice that you chose.
And Joffrey's like, that's your sister? Oh my gosh. And he decides to get all protective.
Well, he's like taken by the fact that, a butcher's boy is pretending to be a knight, and he's like, how dare you?
He's like, I have to put you in my place.
If you look at this Sansa and him have a lot more in common, because they're both like, oh, them commoners.
Yeah, true.
So, I'm just saying.
I mean, that's fair. Because they've both been raised as royalty.
Yeah,
so.
And he whips out his sword and is like, by the way, which is called Lion's Tooth. I'm sorry. A sword called Lion's... Anyway, so he's like, I'm gonna, fight you with your broomstick, because I'm just so brave. And, like, he points it at Micah's face and actually draws blood, and Arya's like, I'm not dealing with this shit. So she grabs her broomstick and hits him in the head with it, which was amazing.
And I was scared. I was like, oh no.
Yeah, well, at this point, Micah, takes the opportunity and runs away.
Yes.
But at this point, Joffrey is mad because he's like, how dare you hit me? I'm the prince. And I think at one point, like, Arya throws a stone and it also makes his horse run away. So he, like, winds up on her and starts attacking her with his sword, and he's like swinging all away, and eventually he backs her up against a tree, and it's like he's either gonna kill her, she's gonna either get like terribly hurt, something bad is happening. Something bad happens, but for Joffrey, Nymeria, yay, shows up.
Yes.
And bites down on his sword hand so that he has to drop it, and he's like, God, save me, please save me.
He's like, I'm gonna tell my mom if you hurt me.
Yeah, don't hurt me, please. Like, he's only brave when he has a sword in his hand and the other people have broomsticks, but as soon as he has some... Anyway. It's
called ego.
Yeah. Arya eventually calls Nymeria off and is like, let's calm down here.
No, what did she say? No. She said, what did she say? She was like,
no, I know. Wait, earlier, Joffrey had said to Micah, I won't hurt him much. And then when Nymeria attacks Joffrey, Arya says, she didn't hurt you much.
Yes.
It was kind of great.
Yes, pop off. Anyway, that happened. And then Sansa this entire time is like, what the fuck, y'all are
You're
ruining
spoiling it. Not that you're gonna hurt yourselves, but that you're spoiling my day.
That's what she said. She was like, you're spoiling it. And then she was like, oh, my sweet prince, I can't believe they did this to you. Oh my god, don't
wait.
Okay.
You're missing a point. So after, Nymeria backs off, Arya, like, picks up his sword and is like, I could kill you right now, but I'm a better person, so I'm just gonna heave it into the river. And then runs off. And then Sansa has her moment.
Yes. But also, like, I feel like she'd face some consequences for killing the prince. Like, I feel like she wouldn't kill the prince.
She could hurt him more.
Yes, she could hurt him more, but I feel like I think at that point she was like, I feel like, well, I guess we don't know her too well yet, but I feel like at that point she was like, okay, this has gotten out of hand. I hope. But I feel like we also don't know her, so maybe she was just like, oh, whatever. I don't know. Anyway.
Yeah, so Sansa rushes up to Joffrey and is like, oh, you sweet prince.
Oh my gosh, my sweet parents, and then he's like, or she's like, oh, like, I'm gonna go back to camp and, like, get help for you, like, don't worry, and he's like, then do it, and don't touch me.
I'm sure these accents are offensive to somebody, so
it's
apologies.
I'm not even doing accents. I'm just doing random things. Like, are those accents? I don't feel like I'm doing accents.
I just don't want anybody to be offended.
Yeah,
so.
I'm not doing specific accents, though. Like, I'm not, like...
I know. Neither am I, because I can't. I literally cannot.
I literally don't know how to do accents.
Capable of.
I just do random things. It's like, okay, I'm just gonna, like, unlock my jaw and speak, or something, you know? like something random to generate a voice that's different. Anyway, whatever. So, point. What was the point? Oh.
Joffrey is an asshole.
Yeah, Joffrey, I tried to give him a chance the whole chapter. Every time he said something, or every time he, like, got a little mad, I was like, okay, just, like, ego, you know, we all got some. And then by the end, I was like, okay, I can't, man, this is...
Yes.
Anyway, sad times,
So, let's talk about Sansa here for a second. What did you think of her?
I wanted to like her. This chapter, I was really trying to give Sansa and Joffrey a chance, but I feel like there's just not enough, there's just not enough, like emotional development in her.
Yeah,
like,
well,
there's
this
just
is
not
her first
enough.
chapter, so...
Yeah, I just feel like there's not enough there for me to like her yet.
Yeah, I mean, you're not alone. Sansa is somebody that people have a hard time relating to.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, so we have these two sisters. Arya is the totally unconventional one who goes off the beaten path and does her own thing. And then we have Sansa who, you know, she's basically been trained to be this person. And, you know, it's very conventional, all the things she does and is, but that's also a valid way of being. I think sometimes we forget.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah,
you
for
know,
sure.
Sometimes it's okay to just do what
people
you are
tell
expected
you to
do. Yeah, exactly, kind of.
I think it's not that. I think that's my thing. That's why I wanted to like her. I was like, she isn't doing any, like, that's what I was thinking too. I was like, she isn't doing anything wrong by being what she's supposed to be. Like, you know, like, being a goody two shoes isn't
all her
always
life
all
she's
bad.
been told, oh, ladies are like this, and ladies
for sure.
are like that.
But then the thing that I have a problem with, that in this chapter I really saw, the thing that I have a problem with is that she, like, here's the thing, being good is only good if you're, like, in my opinion, it's like, when you're being good, you're like, okay, this is, you recognize what's happening, why it's happening, and why you're supposed to do what you're supposed to do. I feel like she doesn't have any of those understandings yet. Like, she doesn't, in her mind, she's like, oh, I have to do this, so, like, I'm gonna be queen after I marry him, or whatever. Like, you know, it's not like, okay, I'm doing this to, like, I just feel like she doesn't think about things like I want her to think about them. That's it.
Yeah.
She
does have a tendency, like, you know, we talked about how she wants her life to be like a fairy tale, which can be frustrating, knowing that, you know, in the past, we're on chapter 15.
Yeah.
The prologue, 2 people died. The first chapter, 1 person died. What else? Like,
who died in
somebody
the first
dies
chapter?
just last time.
John, who died in the first chapter?
The guy
the guy that we beheaded. Oh, right, yes. Did die.
Just last chapter, Catelyn and, you know, the guy who was attacking Bran died, and Bran fell off. Like, this is a harsh world, and she's living in this fantasy. So it can be frustrating. Like, get on with it, or like, you know.
But I think that's also, like, she hasn't dealt with anything to make her think about things in an objective way. So
do you think this, and, you know, how Joffrey shows his true colors at the end will make
I think right now, no, it's not going to do anything. I think right now, in her mind, it's just going to be Arya ruining everything again. I don't think that at this point she's going to blame Joffrey for it. At this point, she's going to be like, Arya made my prince hate me. That's going to be what she thinks. That's, like, I genuinely think that's what she's going to take away from this. But I'm hoping that, like, you know, someday in the future, that's not what she thinks of it. She kind of sees it a little bit more from both sides.
And what would it take for her to, like, snap out of this fairy tale?
Yeah, I don't know, man. Like, it could be, like, losing everything.
What does everything entail?
I mean, what if, like, this is, like, really random thought. Like, you know, we're talking about, like, Lannister-Stark war. Like, you know, something like that is pretty gigantic. Maybe not, like, I don't know. I just feel like it would take something like that. I don't know. Maybe, I don't know. It might take something that big.
But so if the Starks went to war against the Lannisters, wouldn't she just be like, oh, it's everybody's spoiling it again? Prince Joffrey is good.
I don't think so, because war is different than two kids fighting.
Okay, why would they go to war, though?
I don't know. Like, I don't know, like, the Jon Arryn thing, and, like, the Bran thing. Jon Arryn, sorry. Jon Arryn, like, the Bran thing. Like, well, if she finds out that the Queen and... Well, okay, let's say she found out that the Queen and her brother were having sex. Like, to her, that would be a very big... Well, to everyone, that would be a very big deal. But her, like, you know, she likes order.
It'd be a break in the fairy tale.
Yeah, it would, like, that would be
okay, so that's the thing that could snap her out of this.
Yes.
Potentially.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. All right, so what do you think are going to be the consequences of what just happened? What's going to happen to Arya?
Joffrey's I'm gonna tell my mother about this.
Yeah, and once the Queen hears, what's going to happen?
See, Joffrey doesn't seem like a very tell-it-as-it-is individual.
Okay.
So, I don't think he's gonna be like, oh, this is what happened. He's definitely gonna play it up and be like, the butcher's boy attacked me! And I don't even know what voice. I'm literally just doing random things.
Okay, anyway, the butcher's boy attack. That's what he's gonna tell.
Yeah, and he's gonna be like, oh, like Sansa didn't. He's gonna be. He could be like, oh, Sansa told me to fight the butcher's boy or something. Like, do you know what I mean? I don't think he's gonna. I think he's gonna just say things that'll get Sansa and Arya, and obviously the butcher's boy, more in trouble.
Okay, so Sansa, Arya, and the butcher's boy get in trouble.
Yes.
How are they gonna how are they gonna deal with that? Yeah.
Well, see, I don't know, because we haven't had anything like that happen yet, so I don't really know how they're gonna deal with
by
it.
the way, I completely almost forgot your whole prediction of a wolf is gonna attack one of the Lannisters came true.
Yeah. Oh my god.
Well, the Queen's son. Anyway. You know,
he's a Lannister.
I think at one point you said Joffrey, but then you were like maybe Tommen. But anyway, one of the Queen's sons was attacked by a wolf. So yes. High five for that.
Yay.
I totally forgot to mention it.
Yay.
Okay, anyway. So there's going to be consequences. You don't know what.
Yeah, but because I just feel like
any guess. Just give me one guess. Like they're going to be grounded for 6 weeks. Like what is your
Okay, they're gonna be subjected to the detention wheelhouse. They have a wheelhouse for people who are I don't know, I'm just saying random things at this point.
Oh, so they're just they're gonna have to ride in the wheelhouse that is meant for detention.
Like, just like, well, no, I take that back, because that doesn't make sense in this world. Yeah. They're not at school, there's no detention. Detention here would be, like, trial for death. So, I think the butcher's boy might get killed, sadly, because...
Oh.
Because I think it would be really easy. I think it would be really easy to, like, because the thing is, it's not just like, because the thing is, okay, so Ned is the hand. Robert is the king. Like, their kids can't get in trouble for shit like this. You know what I mean? Like, they are very high up. So it would be very easy to place all of the blame on the butcher's boy.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And, like, I think that's gonna happen. Because that would just be the easiest thing.
You're really, like, predicting that people are gonna die.
Well, it's happened. Feel like it's just gonna keep happening, man.
Yeah.
That's one of the few things I knew about the series anyway, that everyone dies. So, I mean,
yeah,
wouldn't be shocked.
Okay, so I guess that's what we'll find out. Any other predictions that I want to go through? So how badly do you think Joffrey is hurt?
Well,
Is he hurt much?
The fact that he's whimpering and he's, like, unwilling to
yeah, but he's a coward. I don't know if that's, like,
okay,
much
but
of
the
an
fact
indication.
that he's not... Oh, that's true. It could be, like, you know when, Draco got, like...
I love how we always come back to Draco.
Because that's like... No, you know what? I'm hoping that Joffrey's... Like, at the beginning of the chapter, I was like, oh, I hope Joffrey follows, like, Draco's character arc, where by the end I was like, okay, like, there's a personality there and not just, like, annoyance. So, I don't know. Hopefully that happens, but, I mean, with this chapter, it's just not looking very likely. So, anyway, what was I saying? Oh, you know when he got not attacked. When he annoyed the, what was the creature?
The
Buckbeak.
creature?
Buckbeak. When he annoyed Buckbeak.
Oh, this is basically exactly what happened, because I think his arm was hurt too.
Yeah.
And he makes a big deal out of it, and he's like, I can't write exams or whatever.
So maybe Joffrey is just embarrassed. He's not actually hurt. He's mad because Arya is Sansa's sister.
Well, he was bleeding, that's for sure, but okay, so true. He's hurt, but not too badly. That's your answer?
Yeah.
Okay. He's not hurt much. Okay.
Yeah. I feel like he's the character who needs to annoy some more people before he's allowed to die. So I don't think he's
allowed to die.
No, but like by the author. I think the author's gonna allow him to die once he annoys a few more people, and once he's more annoying.
So now Joffrey's gonna die.
I think everyone in this series, my prediction is everyone we've met so far, every single person except for one person we've met so far is gonna die by the end of the 5
Okay,
books.
who's the one person that's not gonna die?
I don't know. I think like once I figure out who the main character is, maybe it's that person. Or maybe it's probably not that person. I don't know. I can't tell.
Oh, it's so much fun watching you.
You know who it's gonna be? It's gonna be... Bran's gonna be the one person who doesn't die. That would be
He's
funny.
just gonna be in a coma. Chilling.
Yeah, so then technically he's not dead.
That's true. That is definitely true.
Oh my god.
Okay. So I think that's good for predictions. Let's see what the next chapter is. Do you want to flip the page?
Yes. I was like, I need to know who comes next. I need to know.
I love that. You're finally getting into it.
Okay. Eddard! Oh, that's kind of boring now. Kind of wanted, like, Daenerys. No. I love Kate. Here's
Eddard
the thing.
will bring us back to this storyline.
I know, but that's the thing. This storyline's so... Like, this book so far has been so good for... Okay, storyline, now we move away, and we don't... This book has been so good about not dealing with the consequences. Now I have to deal with the consequences right away. Right. What just happened. Like, I'd rather go to, like, Daenerys and... Yeah, because usually, like, so far it'll be like, oh, we'll have a Daenerys chapter, and it was like, oh my god, we don't know if Khal liked her, and then we don't see her for, like, 5 more chapters, so we don't have to worry about that problem. And that keeps happening in this book. But now it's starting to get more constant with the storylines, so now we kind of have to deal with the consequences of what's going on.
Yeah.
So, that's interesting.
So what are we gonna see from Ned Stark?
Yeah, that's interesting. Well, I don't know if we're gonna see them on their... Well, we're probably gonna see them, like, back and they've found it. I feel like the chapter will start and the consequences will have, like, happened. And then Ned will just kind of, like, talk about it and be like, I can't believe they did that. Or, like, something, like, I don't know. Like, you know? Or he'll be like, I wish Catelyn was here, you know? Or, like, something like that.
So, basically, like, every other Ned chapter. The last one ended with him being like, oh, I wish I was in Winterfell with my family.
Okay, well, his son's also dying now, so yes.
I know. I mean, it's a valid feeling to have, but you're just predicting that we're gonna have more of the same, and that's not interesting to me.
What chapter are we on? Like 14, 15, 16, 17?
Okay, so this one we just read is 15. Next one is chapter 16, and I have a thing to say. I have an announcement to make.
Okay.
Next chapter, we're actually going to have a guest star.
Yes.
So stay tuned for that. Okay, that was all the teaser I'm gonna give. We will find out. Okay.
Yes.
I'm really looking forward to this. This story is picking up.
Things are finally happening.
I'm so excited. Honestly, I can't. The fact that this book has like 70 something chapters and we're not going to be done in we're going to be done in about a year.
Yeah, I can't just
daunting.
I can't just go read it today. Yeah, I know.
But I can, so.
Oh, shut up. Shut up. Whatever, it's fine.
Anyway, so thank you everybody for listening to this. I'll just remind you to find us on our various social media at Pop Culture Symposium on Facebook and Instagram, at Pop Symposium on Twitter, and our website/blog is popculturesymposium.tumblr.com. You can also email me at popculturesymposium@gmail.com. As always, all those links will be in the show notes, so just click the thing. And until next time, with a new guest, farewell, my friends.
Talk to you later.